This is Optimal Startup Daily, episode 628. How do great entrepreneurs choose a capital provider? Maybe not the way you think. Part 1, by Mike Smerklo of mikesmerklo.com. And I'm Dan, I am your host, and I'm here every single day of the week, including weekends and holidays, reading to you from some great blogs on entrepreneurship. And today I've got a little bit of a longer post from Mike Smerklo, so I'm going to read the first half for you right now and then finish up the rest tomorrow. So with that, let's get right to part 1 as we optimize your life. How do great entrepreneurs choose a capital provider? Maybe not the way you think. Part 1, by Mike Smerklo of mikesmerklo.com. Lessons learned from my experience taking 2 companies from startup to IPO about capital raising and how experienced entrepreneurs think about the process. Entrepreneur number 1. Wow, I can't believe I just got a term sheet from XYZ Ventures. They are such a great firm. Entrepreneur number 2. That is fantastic. What is the valuation? Entrepreneur number 1. Big. Not like uber big, but big. Entrepreneur number 2. Man, that is awesome. You must be thrilled. You're so lucky. Entrepreneur number 1. I know. All my dreams are coming true. I can't imagine what could go wrong from here. During my entrepreneurial journey, I was incredibly lucky to work with several great private equity firms, including venture, growth, and late-stage investors, before taking 2 companies to the public markets, LoudCloud, Opsware, and ServiceSource. As a result, I'm often asked by entrepreneurs building amazing companies a seemingly simple question. How do I get XYZ, insert any VC or PE firm name here, to invest in my business? My answer is likewise pretty simple. I think you are asking the wrong question. And then, channeling the great Alex Trebek, Jeopardy guy for those under 30, I come back with the answer in the form of a question, and it goes like this. What aspect of raising capital do you think will have the greatest impact on your ability to build a superior business? This can be hard to grasp, regardless of whether you're getting lots of calls from all the top VC, PE firms, or if you're simply looking for any source of cash to keep your business dreams afloat. But it's incredibly important for an entrepreneur to step back and consider all aspects of the capital raising process to maximize success for the future. There are 5 primary aspects of the capital raising process that really matter, and most entrepreneurs get seduced by only one of the 5. And by doing so, they miss out on the opportunity to add more than cash to the balance sheet. Here are the 5 key considerations that an entrepreneur needs to consider when raising capital. Number 1, valuation. AKA, show me the money. The easiest component, and the one that gets all the headlines. This is also the easiest to get your arms around. Simply put, this is the pre-money, when raising capital for your balance sheet, price at which you are selling stock in the company. Note, when selling secondary shares, i.e. no new money coming into the business, the pre-money and post-money valuations are the same. Determining how your company is valued, i.e. what metric is driving the price, is a very different topic and well documented in various blogs. It's worthwhile to do this research and understand what the key drivers are to get to the valuation, but I'll assume you already know that and focus on the other 4 attributes that great entrepreneurs need to take into consideration. Number 2, terms, aka bring out the GIMP. You have to understand the key terms attached to the security you are selling and the private equity firm is buying. This is the gritty stuff that is very tempting to offload to your CFO or legal team. Most of the terms are frankly simple or standard and therefore don't need a lot of attention, but a few really matter, and here is where you need to be aware. Be very aware. Private equity guys tend to use the term security when talking about your life's work. Try not to be offended when the two get intermingled. I won't go into too much painful detail here, but I do want to insist that you, as the entrepreneur, really do need to understand the few key terms associated with the capital raise. Don't consign this to your CFO. Most important for you to understand is that the investor's number 1 goal is to shield their investment from a loss, so key terms are usually focused on giving the investor downside protection, aka when things go wrong. Investors will happily give you a higher valuation in exchange for more aggressive terms to protect against the downside. All valuations are not created equal. And trust me, when things go wrong is not the time you want to learn what terms like 2x liquidation preference mean. Simply put, this is a little like reading the fine print in your insurance policy. It doesn't seem that important until it is. If any of the terms sound odd, overly complex, or highly manufactured, it's likely they are, and it's important that you take a hard look at this part of the equation. Number 3, the firm, aka the partnership brand that your company will be associated with going forward. I remember walking into the offices of various private equity firms and struggling about what to focus on: the art, the view, the long list of past successful investments, or a combination of all of the previously mentioned. All I knew was that their offices looked a lot different than my work environment back at the office, and for good reason. They are in the brand building business just like every other service provider. As an entrepreneur, you have to be really careful not to fall into this trap when choosing the firm that is writing the check. Make sure you don't get seduced by a brand or a perception here, and do your homework on how the firm has supported or failed to support entrepreneurs over time. To be continued. You just listened to part 1 of the post titled, "How Do Great Entrepreneurs Choose a Capital Provider? Maybe Not the Way You Think," by Mike Smerklo of MikeSmerklo.com. And thanks to today's author, Mike. He is the author of Mr. Monkey and Me, a real talk guide to cultivating a mindset to support greatness in entrepreneurs. I actually narrated an excerpt from that book back in episode 88, so if you want to, you can go back and check that out. Mike is an experienced entrepreneur as well as an investor and business leader. He's driven by the desire to turn ideas into reality. Having bought and scaled a small business into a publicly traded company worth nearly $1 billion in value, he's got a deep understanding of the hard work, dedication, and grit that truly powers successful entrepreneurship. And today, as the co-founder and managing director of Next Coast Ventures, Mike is a champion for a new generation of entrepreneurs building disruptive companies in big markets. So really a perfect author for this show. So come by his site to check out his work. That's MikeSmerklo.com, and Smerklo is spelled Smerklo. And as usual, I do have that linked in this episode's description. But that's going to do it for today. Hope you enjoyed part 1 here today, and that you'll join me for part 2 tomorrow, where your optimal life awaits.